Mankind's 21st century magnificent return to love. Good day to you, our wonderful, powerful, perfect human brethren in the planet Earth journey. The whole universe is your audience on this great October day in the year 2020. Never before has a planet ascended in its entirety out of such a dark and challenging low-frequency vibration of negativity, such as you have been enduring, directly ascended into the fifth dimension of love. Watching how so many of you are waking up is fascinating to see. It is also fascinating and rather sad to see how deeply, how very soundly you have been programmed, how you have been controlled and manipulated into thinking the thoughts and having the ideas of the shadow government. We have talked of this a great deal, for it is very relevant. The controlling shadow government's agenda has been to dumb you down and cruelly play with you, and yes, to kill you for their own pleasure and aggrandizement. Look at the situation you have lived under, with corrupt politicians who would tax you endlessly, causing massive poverty and homelessness, and stress and frustrate you with innumerable rules and unnecessary regulations. Look at the medical system that does not allow curative, holistic procedures, but uses expensive, dangerous drugs that may relieve the symptoms, but often add side effects that are worse than the disease. Look at the hypnotic effect of the words and loud and raucous rantings of the television, the outright lies told by the media. Look at the banking system, designed to take your money, with stocks and trading procedures that are manipulated to enrich the few with insider trading. Look at the human trafficking, the starvation, the lack of clean water, the poisoning of our food, the chemtrails that pollute your sky, the dumbing down of mankind by all means possible. In the actuality of your experience can be seen the agenda of your shadow government, of your secret controllers. And seen from God's heavenly viewpoint, this is all as it was intended to be, for your dark controllers were appointed by heaven to play the dark to your light. They were appointed by heaven to use your ego, your perceptions to serve their own purpose. Thus you have suffered under their tutelage, and in this suffering you have sifted and sorted and found what you do prefer and what you don't prefer, and you have thus individuated your personality from the perfect drop of God love, of God consciousness that you were, by refining your talents, preferences, and abilities. However, the shadow government, those that have been called the powers that be, were all too successful in their entrainment, in their indoctrination of mankind. They were designed to give humans the challenges they needed for ascension. They were all too successful, for mankind is basically kind. Mankind is basically loving and longing for communion and camaraderie with each other. Left to its own devices, the human world would be a loving and nurturing place. The controllers have been deviously clever, sending their tentacles, their paid minions, down into every sector of human life. They pay our teachers' unions, our banking employees, our doctors, our politicians to carry out their agenda. They have filtered their desires into every facet of human life, and humans are basically loving conformists. They wish to belong to the tribe, and they have been taught to conform to the behavior of the tribe, however unpleasant. The most challenging factor to overcome is that this conformism is a slave to fear. Fear, 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 that which we came to earth to experience. The fear imposed by the shadow government has totally hypnotized humanity. Now, heaven has decided that mankind has suffered enough. Humanity has lived innumerable eons of lives, has suffered endless cruelties, has learned from this painful planet Earth journey all that there is to learn. and at last it is time for mankind to ascend. The 25,000-year procession of the equinox cycle has been tortuously experienced, and the alignment of the stars, the planets, and the universal forces is such that planet Earth is inexorably ascending to higher and loving vibrations, to the frequency of fifth dimensional love. And so, the great revelation, the great apocalypse is at hand. This is the big picture of what is happening today in the planet Earth experience. The great revealing is taking place. Humanity has been ignorant of its entrainment, of the manipulations that have been used to control and conquer, of the diseases, the wars, the pandemics, the force flag disasters that have been deviously used to control and to create fear and division. So now, the corruption is being brought to the light. The deeds of the dark politicians, of the lying medical system, of the drug dealers, of the controllers, are being divulged. Day by day we learn more truths of our enslavement. It is indeed wonderful. You cannot awaken unless you realize that you have been asleep. You cannot realize that you have been living a life of lies until you see the nature and kinds of lies that have been told. So the truth is coming out, and the corrupt ones are in fear of their lives. They are truly panicking, for they see that the end of their power, of their rule of mankind, is at hand. And they are fighting desperately with every tool they can devise to keep the status quo, to keep their power and control. And this is the big picture of the days that we are living in. The war between the light and the dark is occurring now. The revelation of mankind's deception into slavery and a fear-filled, constrained, dark and painful existence, that revelation is at hand. These are great and glorious times indeed. For those who do not see this picture, who do not realize the wonderful times we are moving into, these are very puzzling, difficult, and challenging days. For they see the great chaos. They feel that an awful disease is about to attack them. They hear about the riots. They listen to the admonitions that they are racist, homophobic, evil, to the very core. Those who themselves exhibit dark and evil behaviors project their proclivities onto others who are basically kind and loving. And those kind and loving humans, knowing no better, take the slings and arrows, the barbs that are thrown at them, and shout, "Mea culpa, I am to blame, we are to blame, for we are basically cruel and unkind." Not so. We cannot emphasize enough that mankind is basically loving and kind, hence the name, mankind. Hence humans are humane and show compassion and kindness to each other. It is not humanity's inhumaneness to humanity that is to blame, but the inhumanity of the controllers, the shadow government that has purposefully hurt and cruelly misused mankind. And this was God's plan for the growth of the souls that came here to earth to incarnate as men and women, as the children of God. All has gone according to the divine plan. In fact, all has gone beyond the divine plan, for the dark ones have been all too successful in their control. They have gone overboard in their dark agenda. It is surely time now to return to love. It is time for mankind to see beyond the veil. Great lessons of love have been learnt by experiencing the opposite of love, by experiencing great fear, disease, homelessness, rejection, and all the dark and evil feelings of separation. The lessons of love have indeed been well learned. Love is again becoming paramount. The phoenix, the dark controllers are on their funeral pyre, and mankind is forging his way to an understanding of the seeds of his dark entrainment, and mankind is freeing himself. It is the return to love, dear brethren. As we find our true divinity, As we connect with the love that we truly are, we move up in frequency to experiencing divine, heavenly feelings of love, joy, compassion, wisdom, discernment, peace, and great gratitude. So, now we are clearing ourselves of our darkly ingrained fear thoughts that were never even our own. They were our entrainments to learn greater love by experiencing the opposite. All is well with our world, and we, the ascending ones, know it. We see what is happening with clear eyes and ears and all our senses, and all of mankind, when they are ready, will have the same knowing, for all, in their own timing, are taking part in the great ascension. As the Course in Miracles says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Love, our true reality, cannot be threatened, for love is the true nature of humanity. And the horror, the fear, the awful control that has been felt was and is unreal, and the great deception perception of our entrainment is now being revealed. Thank you. Indeed, thank you, God, love, the universe, for all you are, for all we are, for we are a part of you. And thank you that in this awesome, magnificent time, we are now returning to love. That was Aita, channeling her higher self. We are blessed beings, indeed.